Indie Author Lab from the Alliance of Independent Authors is a brand new in-person event for indie authors during London Book Fair Week. Taking place in London on March 11, 2026, it's a full day of mentoring, workshops, and community connection. Created for indie authors by indie authors. Learn more and secure your tickets at selfpublishingadvice.org/indieauthorlab. Hello and welcome to Self-Publishing with ALLi, the podcast that brings you all the advice, news, and inspiration an indie author needs today. You're listening to our creative self-publishing stream. It's brought to you by Orna Ross's Go Creative program, helping authors harness the power of creative flow in writing and publishing. And now, here's Orna Ross with today's episode.
Hello and welcome to Self-Publishing with ALLi. I'm Orna Ross, Director of ALLi, the Alliance of Independent Authors. And it's my great pleasure to be here today with our team member, Melissa Addey, who is Campaigns Manager and Bookstore Lead for the Alliance. And if you don't know what I mean by that, we're about to dive deeply into it because we're going to be talking today about the most exciting project I feel that ALLi has had in a while, and that is our new Big Indie Author Bookstore, which Melissa has the lead on. Hi, Melissa.
Hello, good morning. Yes, it's a very exciting opportunity to talk about this at last.
Yes, she is absolutely dying to talk about the bookstore because we've been doing all things bookstore now for months on end. And this, of course, was your very good idea. It was you who brought it to the management team. And yeah, do you want to just kick off there and say what made you personally feel that this was a good idea for indie authors, and why did you want to see it become a thing?
So this is a couple of years ago now, and it was because I would go around talking to people enthusiastically about indie authors, and then the inevitable question once you've got people excited about indie authors is, all right, and where would I find some of those? And then that always sort of made me sort of stumble to a halt because I would think, oh, right, well, I mean, I have some in mind, but I don't know which genres you like. I don't have hundreds and thousands of them in my head to offer you as options. And so I'd always sort of stumble to a halt a bit, mention a few names and not be quite sure if I'd lined up to their interest. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to have a place where there were thousands of indie author books that I could just easily go, oh, well, you should go there, because there is no other place. You can't go onto Amazon and press a button and say, I'd like to see all the indie authors, please. That's not a thing. It doesn't exist. And so it was so exciting that ALLi took that on and started building that. And it's taken a while because these things take a really long time to build. Astonishing how long you have to tweak each little bit and get it just right. But what we've got now is a really exciting bookstore where it's all indie authors, and it allows you to search by genre, by name, by title. And I just think that's such an exciting thing to be able to offer people as a showcase of what self-publishing is like today.
Absolutely. And we should say it's an ALLi member bookstore. So just by joining the Alliance of Independent Authors, when you're filling in your author profile, you get the opportunity to say whether you want to be included in the bookstore or not. And we have lots of plans. This isn't just a dead catalogue, right? Because there are lists of indie books online, and no list can be comprehensive because there's just way too much going on in the indie world for a comprehensive coverage. I mean, as we're speaking, indie authors have just published hundreds of more books since we started, probably.
Yes.
Speaking on this podcast. It can be quite overwhelming. And I think that's one of the reasons why literary influencers like bookstores and librarians and festival organisers and so on, they're overwhelmed by what's going on in the indie author space. And they need this, I think, this kind of. So it's not curated, as in we're not saying these are the best books, the best indie books. So we know that people who take the trouble to join the Alliance are very committed. The very fact that they are members means they're taking their publishing seriously and that they want to publish to a certain level. So, talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you and I have been planning and other members of the team to make sure that the right people see this store. We want it to be a showcase, but not just a dead thing that lies on the internet.
Absolutely. So first of all, we know that readers are keen to read indie authors. So I'm on TikTok with my own stuff, but on there, I regularly see people say, oh, I would like to read more books by indie authors. Drop your links below. And then there'll be maybe 100, 200 links there. But that's one post by one person that you happen to have seen and put your links into. So again, they're trying to find those books, but they're sort of struggling to find it. They're just getting random sort of selections that they've asked for, rather than being able to look at a big catalog. So we're certainly going to be reaching out to all the places where we can find readers. So, for example, on social media platforms, and reaching out to readers to showcase those books and encourage them to browse through. We're also interested in book influencers, if you like, so reviewers, magazines, podcasts, all of those places, because, again, they would like to support. There's things like Indie Author Month coming up in April, and every year they try to make a deal about indie authors and how they're reading them and supporting them and all the rest of it. But again, they're struggling to know where exactly to find them. So we're going to be reaching out to them and going, this is a place where you can easily find across all different genres, all different, different levels of writing as well. So we've got all different genres. We've got award-winning books. We've got all kinds of things going on. So we'll be able to reach out to all of those. And then we're looking at industry. So obviously, with London Book Fair coming up, there are things like the Bookseller and Publishers Weekly that we'll be reaching out to. But beyond that, we know from latest data that we've seen from ALLi's income survey, that actually as authors grow and build their success and their catalog, we know that quite often they start licensing out some of their rights. And those are selected rights that they would license out to publishers. And we know that publishers start paying attention, and agents, as they go through certain levels of revenue. And we've seen that in our income data. And so we know, again, that this is a place where we can reach out to those people and say, this is the place you could try and browse for indie authors who are doing particularly well and might be of interest.
Great. So in short, ALLi will be allocating a resource each month to bringing people to see the store, guiding them into how to find the authors they're looking for. I should also say that when we call it a bookstore, it's not like we are doing any of the transactional stuff. And what we are doing is just providing a link to the author's preferred link. That might be an Amazon store. It might be their own website and a link to the store purchase link on their own website. And that brings me to the question, which I think is really important, about how our members can build, the fact that this bookstore exists into their current marketing plans.
Yeah. So I think that, first of all, I don't know if everybody saw, Ricardo Fayette did a fantastic piece for us in Self PubCon last autumn. And he was talking about how AI is changing discoverability and how searches get made on the web. And he was talking about the importance of your books appearing across multiple sites. It is not good enough for them to appear in one place, because when AI searches happen, what they do is they kind of fan out multiple searches, and they need to find the books mentioned over and over again in different locations. And he was talking about it's so important for your book to appear in the same way, presented in the same way across multiple places, because the AI then brings back that as, this is a credible source, this is an interesting book that matches your visibility. So this is an additional visibility platform which will add to that discoverability for you. So that's an important thing. To me, that was a very interesting piece he talked about, because I suddenly realized, the discoverability that I've been relying on in the past, with where it's all about categories and keywords and all of that, that's going to change. You need to make sure you're on those discoverability platforms. So this is an additional one of those. I think that's important. I think it's a way, like I just said, there's opportunities to be viewed by people, by influencers, by organizations who perhaps couldn't find you as easily before. This is a time where they will be able to find you. So if your revenue is going to be of interest, you might be able to get licensing rights out there. That's an interesting area. I've always railed a bit about, well, why do, magazines that purport to show the latest book are actually showing a very small selection, and it's always from the big five. It's always the same books out there. But equally, I recognize that we haven't made it easy for them to say, well, what are the latest releases from self-publishing? This will make it easier for them to select that, and I hope to then feature it in things like Reader Magazine. So, some of those places that have been previously difficult to be showcased in for an indie, I think this will help towards that. So I think it's an important part of your marketing strategy to realize there are opportunities opening up with this that we previously just didn't make it very easy for those industries. And it's always very easy to go, well, you're not showcasing us. But if they work in a certain way, you need to move a little bit closer to that and go, okay, I make it a bit easier for you. Just like, if you want to be in a library, you need to be in the library catalogue that they select from. You need to move a little closer to that. And I think this will help with those opportunities as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I think another thing in the bookstore is we are asking for one preferred link to, whatever the author wants that to be. Now, you can put, if you wish, a book linker or, one of those services which shows all the places that you're available if you are publishing wide. And that is an option. But our research is firmly showing that one link actually is better for a reader in terms of avoiding overwhelm. That when they see a lot of choices, often there is a proportion of buyers who will just step away from that decision. It's just too much trouble for them. So we're seeing in the store, a lot of people are using their Amazon link, predictably. But we would like to encourage authors to have indie authors to have their own transactional website. I know it's a lot of trouble. It's not an easy thing to make happen. So services like Shopify and WooCommerce make it relatively easy, particularly Shopify is a very easy setup. And just in terms of if we are bringing, it's just that indie thing. We're the Alliance of Independent Authors, and it's all about independence. And the most independent thing you can do is offer your books for sale on your own website. And with BookFunnel and BookVault and Ingram, it isn't that as difficult as it used to be. The tools are just getting better and better and better all the time. So if you are kind of thinking about maybe will I, should I, or if you have been resisting thinking that's all too much trouble, we would kind of encourage you to take a look and to see, because for me, and just speaking personally now, thinking of us facilitating a lot of indie purchases on indie author websites around the world, that just makes my heart sing, to be honest, because ultimately you're down then to that tight relationship between you and the reader, which is the serious advantage of being indie in this new world of machines and, AI doing the things they can do. What it can't do is have a close relationship with the reader that's, human to human.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the nice thing that we've done with the bookstore is we've made sure that you can put whatever purchase link you wish. And I know some people are starting to put their own direct one, because we know, and this is in the last 2 years, the first time I saw the data for how many people are selling direct from their book, from their own website, was about 12%. So it was quite low, really. And you could tell that was kind of the outliers just starting. And now it's at 30%. And another 30% are considering doing it in the next year. So that, you're now looking at quite a big change in a very small space of time. And like you say, on a personal level, the last time I changed my my website, it was 2 years ago, and I thought, I'm going to build something that has the capacity to have the store, even if I don't set it up straight away. And I think if you're a little bit, not sure about it, just make sure your website has the capacity to do that. That's the first step. And then maybe just put one thing up, just one audiobook or one easy book file or your reader magnet or something, because that is the first step. And if you set it up like that, then you know you can add as many products as you want. So just that first little one, even if we all have our reader magnets up there. If you had your reader magnet in a bookstore type thing, but it just goes through as no pounds, no money transacted as such, but that's how the system is still exactly the same as it would be if you were paying, then you now have a bookstore open and you can just change that as you go through and add more books over time as you develop that confidence and that desire to do that. And on the bookstore equally, it doesn't matter if for now you put in Amazon and then later on you change to selling direct. You can just come back into our bookstore, change the purchase link, and it'll go straight to your store. So there is that flexibility to change it as well over time.
Yeah, that's great. And the other thing I think that, because we're trying to think of all the different challenges that you guys face, that we all face as indie authors, is we have the member forum. And, we will be providing, Melissa's done a great webinar about the bookstore, how to use it and, how to get set up there. She's there on the forum. I'm on the member forum. Other members of the team are there. So the kind of support that you can't get with the big retailers and Amazon and Kobo and so on, you can get with the ALLi bookstores. So you can come in, talk about your difficulties, talk about how you're marketing a particular book, or your whole marketing strategy, talk about how you're promoting a particular book. All of that is part of the support network that will be going on around the bookstore. And I think that's quite valuable.
It is. And also, it's been really interesting to see different people and how they take to uploading. So, we've got people with huge back catalogs. I don't know how they find the time, but they've got, 50, 100 books. And we put together a bulk uploading tool. So for people who have really big back catalogs, they can upload those into the bookstore system really quickly. And then for people who want to do one at a time, they want to do it manually, or they've just got a small catalogue and they're happy doing those, we've seen those as well. So that's been really interesting and really useful to see what people find very easy to do, or if they got stuck on something, then we were able to just change the system a little bit, tweak it a little bit to make it easier for them. So far it's been pretty smooth. It's gone really well. I'm really pleased with people, willingness to set aside a little bit of time and make sure that they're contributing to the overall big catalogue, because it's so exciting to see a big showcase coming together like that, and if people can take just a little bit of their time and add their books in there, then that catalogue is growing and growing, and it means you can just I spend ages exploring because you go, oh look, I can press a button and just look at all the poetry here, and then I can bring it down even further. And I just want to see children's poetry and whatever. So it's been really interesting.
And another way in which it can help is by seeing other ALLi members who are in your genre. Yeah. And so obviously it is a big cross-genre catalogue, but it's a search by genre is there. And so you can see sometimes it's not easy to find out who else is in you can see the best sellers up the top of the Amazon or Kobo rankings or whoever, whichever online retail store, you can see the top sellers. But as you go down the list, it gets more difficult. But through this, we hope that, our members will be able to do collaborations with other members who are in their genre, reach out to each other informally through the forum again, which is our community hub, which every member is welcome to join and be part of that. So, and also because we categorize our membership across author and entrepreneur, that people can find people at their own level, and associate members can see, okay, as soon as I publish my book, I'm going to be on that. It gives them an incentive there as well, I think, to be talking to, which you can in the forum, talking to the authors and entrepreneurs who are there, and seeing it as a much more real thing, and that you're not on your own, you're trying to publish your first book. but you can actually have the conversations with people who have been there and done that. And I think Bookstore will allow a sort of focus on that in a different way that we haven't had before.
Yeah. And I think one of the nice things is we've always said, another author who writes in your genre, they are not some kind of competition to you. They are your ally, like we are allies, but they are an ally. They are somebody you can work with really well to do newsletter swaps, things like that. And oddly, I've reached out I find all authors very, very generous with their time, however they're published, but quite often I've tried reaching out to an indie author about, can we do a newsletter swap? Can we do something like that? Because we seem to have similar readers, and they'll be very willing, and they'll have all those tools in place, because the indie authors tend to be very good on their marketing, because they know that the marketing definitely comes down to them. And then I've reached out to traditional authors who are really kind and generous and willing to do so. But often I've found they don't actually have those marketing tools in place. They don't have a newsletter. They sometimes don't have a website, because they have relied that everything will come from the publisher. And I always go, well, that's lovely as long as it's going well. But one day, if you part ways, where's your footprint? Where's your website? Where's your newsletter? Where are your readers that you've kept on a mailing list, And so I think it will be a great opportunity to be able to look on there and go, okay, so within my genre, who is there? And I know they're all indie authors. Who could I reach out to and do these group promotions together? That's a really nice thing to be able to do.
Fantastic. All right, so we are available for questions about the bookstore. Tell people where to find out more, and if they want to get in touch with you, if they have questions or comments or anything they'd like to feedback.
Absolutely. So it's bookstore.allianceindependentauthors.org. And so certainly go in there and have a browse and have a little look. If you are members, please make sure that you're adding in your all of your beautiful books and updating any that are a little bit out of date. So, for example, I change covers sometimes, that kind of thing. So make sure all of that's looking spangly. What you do to do that is you log into the main ALLi page. Your login is on the top right, and then you go look at the top left, and there is your profile, and you'll see from there how to continue. All the instructions are there. There's a video of me talking you through every step. So make sure to do that. If anyone gets stuck or anyone's got any questions, please do drop me a line. It's melissa@allianceindependentauthors.org. And I'm always very happy to tweak with you, play with you, figure out what it is that you need the help with, and get all your books up there.
A huge, huge, huge big thank you to you, Melissa, for the idea and also for your enthusiasm and passion for this project. It's really fabulous.
Thank you to ALLi for picking it up and making it a real thing.
Well, it's great. It really is good. And we look forward to lots of exciting, things happening for our members from this project. So, yeah. All right, people, you know what to do. Off you go and enjoy the Big Indie Author Bookstore. Until next time, happy writing and happy publishing. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Self-Publishing with ALLi, the podcast that brings you all the advice, news, and inspiration an indie author needs today. Our creative self-publishing stream is brought to you by Orna Ross's Go Creative program, helping authors harness the power of creative flow in writing and publishing. And if you haven't already, we invite you to join our association and become a self-publishing ally. You could do that at allianceindependentauthors.org.